Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Who's He podcast with me, Phil.
Me Scott.
And on this show, we're going to be doing, well, the other Ninth Doctor, the real Ninth Doctor this week. Yes, we are covering Rose as we welcome Christopher Eccleston into the role of Doctor Who way back in 2005. So after the rug pull last week of doing Scream with the Shalka, this is, I was going to say, this is Doctor Who proper, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, indeed,
Yes,
indeed.
indeed.
So,
Yes.
a little bit of housekeeping first. It's another hot day in London, so we've got windows open, we've got fans on. So if you hear any background noise, that's what it is. So if it affects your sort of audio listening pleasure, I do apologise, but it's just too hot to sit here with windows
Honestly,
closed and no fans on.
you're
It's been
most likely to
ridiculous.
you're most likely to hear my fan is literally right over there,
Yeah,
like right next to
mine's
me,
just over there.
right
So
next to me.
yeah,
So
yeah. So you
you'll
you will
probably
hear some
tell.
background noise, unfortunately, but
But it'll be nice white noise.
it
So
will be.
yeah.
We're not going to suffer for our art, are we, Scott?
No,
No, we're not. We're not going to suffer
not
for it.
happening.
So we'll get on to sort of Doctor Who a bit later on, but first we have some Doctor Who news. Now, Scott, you've been sort of trawling through the news because we haven't really sort of talked about much in the way of Doctor Who news of late, have we? So, but
No.
you've sort of found a few pieces. But unfortunately, we have to kick off with unfortunately another Doctor related actor has sadly passed away.
Yeah.
Who's that, Scott?
So well, you're more likely to really know who she is,
Yeah.
but Cheryl Hall, who played Shirley Johnson. I'm reading this off a script, by the way, in Citizen Smith, and she also appeared in Doctor Who in Carnival of Monsters.
Yes,
If
she played
you,
Sherna. Yes,
which I think it's a really good story. I like that story.
yes, it's
Um,
good.
and fun fact: 2 years earlier, she applied for the role of Jo Grant, and she was shortlisted alongside Katie Manning, Gabrielle Drake, and herself. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and there was
and
there
two
was one
is
there was one other actress as well got shortlisted, and she ended up in Carnival of Monsters as well. She was
uh
on board the ship.
Jenny McCracken, I think
Yeah,
her name. I
that's it.
believe.
Yeah, so so it was. It's good. Barry Letts just remembered who they were and did give them a role anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean Cheryl Hall. I remember obviously when I was a kid growing up watching Citizen Smith. And yeah, so I did. That's what I really knew her from. And it's not until later in life when I saw Carnival of Monsters. I think it was the Five Faces of Doctor Who. I think that's what they chose for John Pertwee back in the 1980s to highlight his Doctor. And yeah, so that and then I sort of saw her in that as well, along with Leslie Dwyer playing. Was it? I can't remember. Was it Vogue? I can't remember what the character's name, but basically I knew him really from Heidi High, playing Mr. Partridge, the drunk Punch and Judy man who hated children. So yeah, so it's and I think Cheryl Hall was really really good in that role as well, and she gets sort of like the last scene of that story as well when she sees the TARDIS disappear and she sort of smiles, and that's how that's how it ends. So it's yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shame. Yet another person sort of who's sadly left us. So our again once again our thoughts with her family at this sad time. So let's move on to some happier news, Scott. So
Mm-hmm.
you've been looking
Oh,
at
yes.
sort of BBC sort of production news, haven't you, for
Mm.
Doctor Who? So there's a couple of interesting things. Some of this is one of them is quite old, but first of all, you got some from BBC Studios, haven't you, which we haven't
Yeah.
spoken about recently.
So if you didn't know, Doctor Who, well, you obviously probably know, but because of the whole tender thing going on, it being put out to different production companies and being told, here, would you like to put money towards Doctor Who, basically, and help fund it
Well, it was
and run it, and
it's not to
you
fund it
know,
as such. It's to produce it. It's to make it on behalf of
but
the
they do
BBC.
give money to it as well.
The BBC will control the budget. They don't have a lot of money to burn, but yeah. Anyway, carry on, mate. Carry on.
So this is a Radio Times article. You can't see it, but I'm
Yeah,
reading it off of here.
clickbaity, but there you go.
Radio Times, actually, fun fact, Radio Times does a lot of Doctor Who stuff. I've only just realised most of their stuff seems to just be Doctor Who. Like
And a lot of it's
all
regurgitated from other places, to be fair. So anyway, let's get on with it, mate. Let's get on with it. It's a long podcast, this
Okay,
one.
so BBC Studios has confirmed to be competing in Doctor Who tender process for future revival. The CEO of BBC Studios, Tom Fussell, said, or Fussell, it depends how you want to say it. We've been the producer for 60 years. That's not
Hmm.
really true because, Disney.
Disney,
And we
Bad
want to be
Wolf.
the
Yeah.
producer for another 60 years. So we'll be going for that tender with gusto. Gusto, was that right?
Gusto. With
Gusto.
gusto.
I'm so
Yes.
bad. This isn't going well. We want it to win it. He also said, we've got the full breadth of our studio to look at, and we will do the best for an absolute brand. As a distributor and commercial licensor of Doctor Who, we understand that those fan relationships and can build on that. Doctor Who is something that people in this organisation care passionately about, which I
Yes.
guess is true. And
Yes, it's true.
yes,
It's true.
BBC Studios had it for a long time, and yes, to be fair, they did do quite a lot of fan service
Yeah.
when they had it up until, what was
Yeah,
it,
it's true.
Series 13? I
Yeah,
mean,
about
Series
that. Yeah.
13 literally had like everyone's favourite monsters in one series, so fan
Yeah.
service.
Was a bit.
And Matt Britton, the Director General, said that's a show that has regenerated multiple times in its 60 plus year history and will do so again. I think that's one of the great things about the 100-year
Oh God, we're
history of
going
the
through the whole press
BBC.
release here, Scott. We have to go through the whole thing.
I'm nearly done. We can do that, and we can creatively renew shows that people love. We'll be working hard on that right now. And it suggests that Doctor Who may not return until 2028.
Yes, or at the earliest, I would say actually.
Mm. So what do you
Yeah,
think?
this is a given, isn't it? Really, BBC Studios going to, of course, they're going to bid to make Doctor Who in the future, but yeah, it's very very early days yet. I don't even think because the tender will be a matter of I think I'm right in saying it's public record, so you will be able to view it once it's online if you know where to look. So yeah, we just wait to see what happens. But there's also someone else, Scott, isn't there? I'll go through this one because this one's a little bit more.
I've got quite a bit to say about this one.
Okay,
So
let me go for this one because there's another company which people had thought, or I think not thought, but had misread the headline basis, saying there's a company called Electric Entertainment, which is headed up by Dean Devlin. Now, for those of you who know Dean Devlin he's the guy who brought Independence Day to the big screen, amongst other things. I think he also did Universal Soldier as well with Jean-Claude
well,
Van Damme
actually,
back in the day.
he
But
did Godzilla and Stargate as well, which
yes, he
is quite
did. Yeah,
popular.
yeah. So, no, the Godzilla film was awful. Actually, it was terrible. And
Yeah,
now, and
well
now, and
known.
now, and now, watching Independence Day, that's also an awful jingoistic film as well. It's terrible.
I haven't watched it. Have you
Yeah,
watched it?
I saw it at the cinema and I had it on DVD. And I can't watch it now. I just find it cringe
Insufferable.
making to watch. So basically, they haven't approached the BBC. Despite what other people have been saying and spreading about online, they have not put in a bid to tender for making Doctor Who. So that's a complete misnomer. All that has happened, I think they would like to. Dean Devlin would like to, and to show just how much he would like to make Doctor Who for the BBC, he released this god awful AI video of him at the TARDIS console, which seems to be a mishmash of Peter Capaldi's and Matt Smith's TARDIS console, and then walked towards the screen with some horrible AI constructs of Jodie Whittaker, Christopher Eccleston, Matt Smith, and Peter Capaldi. Interestingly, not David Tennant, because another part of the rumours going around, he will bring it back with David Tennant in the role. That's just the rumour. It's just speculation. There's nothing more than that. There is no truth to any of this, well, apart from the fact that they might entertain the idea of putting in a bid. That's it. That's as far as it goes. So what's been your thoughts on this, Scott? You suggest some strong thoughts on this.
Well, David Tennant has worked with Dean Devlin before,
Yes.
just to put that out there. In the thriller film Bad Samaritan. So yes,
Which
has
I've
worked
never
with him
seen.
before.
Never seen
I
it.
didn't even know it existed,
No.
but oh well. And it's basically said that Devlin believes if you get Tennant back as the lead actor, it would revive the show.
Well, I think again, this is
However, we come
speculation. I
on to
don't
the
think.
problem we've had in the past. That if that does happen, which pretty cool. Maybe have some spin-offs with the 14th Doctor. Fair enough. If you put him back into the main show, then after he leaves again, like unfortunately, like with Shooty Gatwa, the ratings will just drop again because it's not David
Well,
Tennant.
I all I'm going to
So
say is please no more David Tennant. I know people absolutely wet their pants over the mere mention of David Tennant coming back to Doctor Who. No, enough David Tennant now.
oh no, for this one
And
people are saying no, but last time it was like oh yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. No, well, no, no. If there's any grain of truth to any of this rumor, and if Dean Devlin is saying that Doctor will only be successful if you bring back David Tennant, so he's not the person for the job. And looking at his recent film output, I would say no, he is not the person for the job. I do not want to see Dean Devlin anywhere near um, anywhere near Doctor
Can
Who.
I?
I really
I've
don't.
got two things to say. Another thing on this is there's a report that the company has already posted its Doctor invitation to tender, which hasn't. The document itself hasn't even started, so that's not even
No,
possible.
exactly. It's
And
rubbish.
you can't, you can't submit the pitch without it. And also, it just wouldn't happen. Like you wouldn't just single everybody else out to get your production. That doesn't. It can't happen.
No, no, it's just an
Um.
internet rumor, Scott. That's all it is at the moment.
Also, another thing, what I know a lot of people have been talking about is the. So I don't know how to phrase this, but the way that Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is portrayed in the AI video,
Mm.
it looks like a lack of care was put into there. Like she's not wearing her outfit.
It's
It's
AI, Scott. Of course,
no,
it's a
but the
lack of
thing
care.
is, you can put like a
Matt
form of
Smith wasn't
no
wearing his
listen,
outfit.
you could no, but this is like a drastic change. Like she's been like changed from trousers to a skirt. Like that's pretty noticeable. Like
Yeah.
it's obvious. And I know with AI you can put a input in to tell them, look, make it look like this. But clearly AI they haven't told this AI whatever they're using, like this is what the outfit should look like because they wouldn't be well the outfit that she was
Well, do you
given
know
wouldn't look
what,
like that.
Scott? Do you know what, Scott? This isn't even worth our time discussing, really, because it is just so that AI video was so lazy. And if it's the case of look what I can do, sorry, it's failed on every level as far as I'm concerned. I think it's
And I know that
diabolical.
people were saying that it would be in good hands with this production company,
No.
but it looks like that what they've done with using AI for I mean, number one, it doesn't fit the values of the BBC. They do
Hmm.
use AI, but they don't use AI to make people and make like creative TV shows with
Yep,
it,
correct. Yeah, yeah.
which is against like the policies that they have. I just said. So number one, that one now he's done that, he's less probably likely to be allowed into the show because it just makes him look bad. Like
Yes,
that's what he's done to himself.
it has made him look bad. In my eyes, it's made him look bad. I mean, I dare say, there's people who do not share that opinion at all. And I know I've been sort of quite sort of down very much down the line with my opinion on that this should never happen. Again, it's just an internet rumor, and until something concrete happens, we should never speak of this again, Scott.
I mean, to be fair, the AI video isn't an internet rumor. It's
No, that's
real.
there.
Like
That's there.
that
But
was on the news as well.
it did.
So
It made the news on sort of breakfast television over here. But I again, it was. I don't think it's reported properly. And again, it's just a rumor. There is no official tender has been placed by Electric Entertainment for Doctor Who because they can't at the moment. So that's it. So
I don't know.
end
It
of,
just feels
end
like
of.
he just misunderstood the idea of the show in general, and
I
he's
no.
not.
Well,
And he's
it's the other thing as well, Scott, is the fact it's another. It's just exploded on the internet, and people have just peddled a rumor as fact again, and it's utter nonsense.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
it is a fact that he wants it, but it's not. It's a rumor that he's actually
yes,
gone
indeed,
in for the
indeed.
bid.
But
So
anyway,
there's,
let's we've spoken enough about this one, Scott, because it's utter bobbins, it really is. But you've got some news on the Doctor Who CBeebies cartoon, haven't you?
yes.
Yeah,
So the CBBS will be split into two blocks, probably of like 26 episodes each, because 52 episodes in total, so probably equal split. Each
yep.
episode is 11 minutes long, and Dominic Mins is the series director for this project and the creative director for Blue Zoo. And there's no other information about it so far.
Well, no,
So we know a little bit.
that's the thing. It's actually now officially gone into production. I actually thought we already had, to be fair,
Yeah.
but now it has actually gone into production. 26 episodes will air between 2027 and 2028, and the remaining 26 will air between 2028 and 2029. So that's the schedule at the moment. But we haven't seen anything, have we?
Nope.
Any character designs? Who's going to be playing as I understand it, it's going to be various doctors. It's not going to be a doctor for the animated series. It's going to be like past doctors, for
Who's gonna
argument's sake.
voice it? Are they gonna have
Don't
to
know.
like
Jacob Dudman, that'll probably who they'll get.
yes.
Yeah.
But also maybe
Jonathan
I'll just
Carley, there you are.
maybe it won't be any voices, maybe it'll just be music. Some like Hey Dougie does the voices, but Dougie
No,
doesn't
no, no.
actually
There's
speak.
going to be apparently
So,
there's going to be like it's going to be like done properly, but obviously for a preschool audience. That's it, really.
I
But
just hope all
it's interesting though, Scott, because Dominic Mins he's worked on stuff that you used to watch when you were a preschooler. So
60s.
it was at Zingzillas.
I don't remember that.
You Zingzillas. You remember that one? And Big and Small was another one you were, and that was voiced by Lenny Henry, obviously, who's worked on Doctor Who. So
Yes.
yeah, there you are. Yeah, so
I
you don't
I
remember them, do you? Now, do you? I can remember, mate, because I have to sit down and watch the bloody things. But
was it fun?
oh, yeah, in more innocent times, mate. More innocent times. So really, now we've only got something, one more thing left to talk about, and
Fine.
it,
Well,
it
there's actually
it's tat
yes.
related, isn't it? So let's go over to Omega's Tat Corner.
You pester me with trinkets!
Okay, Scott. So this is interesting, isn't it? Because this is not something from Character Options, is it?
No, it is not. It
No.
is from I believe it's an American company. And first thing, it'll be exciting. I know probably no one watching this is going there. We're not, but San Diego Comic Con is where these new toys are going to be first announced, and they're made by
Yeah.
a company called 52 Toys, and they have officially licensed Doctor Who, for their toys. And the lineup include 10th and 11th Doctors, a Dalek, a Cyberman, and a Weeping Angel, and they're in a 6-inch scale.
Yeah, so that's 1/12 scale in old money. All they've done so far is release images of the designs for the Dalek, the Cyberman, and the Weeping Angel. But there's nothing yet for the 10th and 11th Doctor, so we don't know what they're going to look like. There's no news yet if they will be released in the UK, because it's obviously a different licensing agreement, because obviously Character I've got the license here, so there's no guarantee they will actually arrive on these shores, but certainly they will be in North America, it seems. So if you're attending I'll say that again, San Diego Comic Con, you might see them there at one of the tray stands. So there we go. There we go.
Yes.
So that's it for the news for another episode then. So coming up next, we're going to be talking the resurrection of Doctor Who back in 2005 with Rose. So for another episode then, that was the news. Right then, everybody, it's time to welcome the Ninth Doctor. And in this case, the Ninth Doctor is played by Christopher Eccleston. And of course, we're going to talk about his inaugural story, Rose, which brought Doctor Who back to the screens on March the 26th, 2005. So yet again, Scott, modern Who before you were born.
Again.
Again. So I've got plenty to say about this actually, but and we've talked about Rose before on this podcast when Paul and I have discussed it, but not in this context, because basically, if you haven't listened to one of our Welcome the Doctor podcasts before, basically what we do is not so much about the story and the plot. It's more to do with the fact is, did it do a good enough job of introducing a new actor in the role of the Doctor? So we'll start with you then, Scott. So what did you make of this, and did it, in first impressions, did it make a good job of introducing Christopher Eccleston as Doctor Who?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think what we're going to find out is that a lot of the introduction stories for the Doctors actually focus in New Who on the companions more. So really, it's not until I think you get into like a story like Aliens of London where you really see what the Doctor's like and his mischievous side and jokey side. I know you see this here, but really it's called Rose. It's a focus on Rose,
Yeah,
really.
it is.
So
Yeah,
it does a good
totally.
job but it doesn't really focus on that aspect as much. That makes sense.
Well, it's got a lot to do really because it had been off air. Technically since 1996. That was the last sort of time any Doctor Who was on the telly. Barring sort of things, some of the like Doctor Who nights or something they had to celebrate the 30th and the 40th anniversary and stuff like that. But I remember sort of like at the time, there was, I mean, the press surrounding this was absolutely amazing. I mean, the BBC really trailed this a lot, and you've got the Adventure of a Lifetime trailer. And at the time, I was working up in London, if you're regular listeners to this podcast, I've told this story before, but I used to get the train to Cannon Street Station, in the city of London, and above the concourse, before you get on the platforms, there was a massive billboard up, with the Chris Eccleston and Billy Piper and the Tars doing like an action pose, and it was like Doctor Who coming soon, and it really felt like they're really throwing their weight behind it this time, and they're treating it seriously after years of the BBC not giving it a budget, and it still didn't have a massive budget even then, but it just looked a bit more polished, didn't it, when it eventually hit the screens. And so, okay, some of the CGI looks a bit dated.
Well, to be fair, a lot of the budget went on the next story.
Yeah, exactly, and the finale, obviously.
Yes.
So I think this did a damn good job of not just introducing a new Doctor to people like myself who'd already watched Doctor Who, since they were a wee lad. I think it also brought it to a new audience as well. Now I know Paul and I have complained on this podcast about the fact, it's the Time War, all the Time Lords, these are the last of the Time Lords and all that kind of thing, which we didn't like at the time. I'm still not over keen on it, but I can understand why it was done. It just did away with all the Time Lord baggage, and he was the president of Gallifrey and all that kind of stuff. So, and it just sort of gradually drip fed the lore of Doctor Who into the series. By the time you get to Dalek, you've got a Cyberman head in Henry Van Statten's museum. So it's sort of like, we know what it was. New audiences don't know.
It's sort of tease. It's
a little tease, exactly. Just a little tease.
I feel like R.C. Davis was writing the Cyberman 2-parter even when that was
probably was. Yeah.
So he probably was. That's probably a little teaser hint.
Yes, indeed. I actually we sat down and watched it a couple of days ago, didn't we? And I really quite enjoyed it watching it again. To be fair, I think it did a really good job introducing Christopher Eccleston. It was slightly, so I noticed a lot of people complain about his performance, like he couldn't do the humour very well. It was a bit goofy, but maybe that's how it was intended, or maybe he would have settled down in that had he done another series. I don't know.
I disagree. I quite like how he does.
Yeah, exactly. Humor. That's what I mean. I think for new audiences,
he's just regenerated. Yeah. I mean, it makes it quite obvious.
Well, you say he just regenerated, but then Clive, in the story, shows Rose all those photos or drawings of stuff he's taken part in, in Earth history. So it seems to have been. Well,
he's newly regenerated. But then he doesn't know what he doesn't know what he looks like.
No, but then he just looks at himself in the mirror when he gets to Rose's flat, doesn't he? Checks out his visage and everything. But I think it's it does a good job, and I think also using the Autons as well, which hadn't been seen since the early 70s, and again it wasn't really signposted by the fact that he's dealt with these before with a different face. It just wasn't mentioned. It was just it was explained again why they're there, because all the plastics and the oil and the sort of toxicants in our water and
It doesn't. I don't think it ever mentions calling them Autons though.
I don't think it does. It says nest in consciousness, but it doesn't mention the name Autons, which I think still look really good. Actually, I think they still look really good.
Do you know what I think's quite silly? If we brought back the Autons in Shooting Gap with Zero, everyone would be like, it's bringing back old villains. But they did it then, and it was like, oh my gosh, Autons. It's like 20 years later, it just feels like all of a sudden.
I know.
It just feels really weird.
Well, the thing is, though, I think this is the difference between RTD1 and RTD2. I think certainly at the beginning, when with Eccleston's series, the fact that there wasn't anything that made the full like the Autons weren't the big bad of the series. There wasn't really a big bad. It was Rose, really, that it was, the bad wolf. That was the thing through the. It
I
was
mean, you
thread
could
through
argue
each
the
episode.
Daleks were as well because they appeared in the
Yeah,
most,
but it
or the
wasn't.
Slovene.
Yeah, but it wasn't there from the beginning. Really, I think the Slovene thing, it was done for that Ains of London World War Three two-parter. Time it gets to Boomtown, I think that was a cost-saving exercise just to get.
Wait, I'm hoping you like Boomtown though.
It's all right, Boomtown. I think it doesn't get enough
I
plaudits.
like the Bloomtown. Boomtown is, I think, a very good episode, and also a
Yeah,
very good episode for character development.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Right
think
before the finale as well.
yeah.
That's
But
a
what about character development for Rose in this story though? Because it obviously it didn't
um.
just introduce Christopher Eccleston. It introduced a new companion before that she was really, as you said at the beginning, Scott, she's the focus of the story, really, isn't she?
Again, it's the first episode in the series. It doesn't really develop that much. I mean, obviously, she kind of learns that her boyfriend's an idiot,
Yeah,
but apart from that, and she also learns that she wants to travel the universe. But that's kind of it. Like, she doesn't learn. I mean, she's brave, but I think that was already admitted when she went down in the basement by herself and was even though there was like strange noises and the
yeah.
door shut, she didn't panic. Well, she did
Well,
panic, but not. It wasn't like
I'll tell you
panicking.
what, Scott, you probably heard this already, but when this was first broadcast in 2005, one of the strange noises in the basement was Graham Norton. Because there was he
Oh
was,
yes, of
yeah,
course.
there was
Yes, I know
the
this. That's
sound
right.
bled over into it. So, yeah, because I was watching it at the time, I thought, why is Graham Norton's voice this creepy bit?
What was
Yeah, and
Graham
it
Norton? I
was
know
just,
on the Tom of Angels cliffhanger when it first aired, Graham Norton appeared at the bottom with this little
yeah,
like animation thing and was
he's
like
got history of interrupting Doctor Who's Graham
in
Norton, so it made sense to have him in the last series actually as a hologram, but announcing the end of the
he
world.
interrupted.
Yes, he did.
He interrupted
Interrupted
that.
Doctor Who twice. Um, yeah, so it, I mean, obviously it looks funny enough. I mean, it's 21 years old now, and it does look a bit dated. I mean, the CG. I mean, special effects of that nature date almost on a weekly basis. Unfortunately, that's just a nature of it, and it's more apparent when you get to things like. Aliens of London, really. We got the CGI Slovene, which don't match up to the
I don't mind the
costume,
Slovene
but
though. The Slovene are quite fun though, so I let that slide.
well, I think that's the
There.
thing because the things that people and I probably did at the time as well, actually, to be fair, or criticised was the burping bin and the Auton Mickey as well because him sitting in the car going pizza like that, and it was just sort of
Pizza.
how could anyone not realise that there was something totally off then? And she went and she still stayed in the car with him
Well,
and drove off. But when he also gets to the restaurant, I'd forgotten that aspect of it had disappeared, and it was a bit more like Mickey, even though still looked like a waxwork. It was a bit
I mean,
too waxworky.
it was beginning to like develop what Mickey was actually like. It was like
Yeah.
feeding,
So this time when I
which is
watched it
quite
this time,
weird.
it didn't really bother me. And I think other people criticised when the Doctor pulled Auto Mickey's head off,
Oh,
and it was just walking around with the big shovels for hands doing that,
that's funny
smashing
though.
things up. Yeah.
Like,
If you're not watching this on YouTube and you just listen to this on audio, I was reenacting Headless Mickey smashing up the tables in the pizza restaurant.
like
Yeah, it's. I think the thing to realise, I was, and I still do this to be absolutely, to criticise myself here. I come from it from a point of view of an old school Doctor Who fan. It must be treated with the utmost seriousness and respect. But this burping bins, the plastic Mickey thing going pizza like that, it's for kids, really. I think that's the
I mean,
thing.
it's quite
It's
funny. I
got to tick
mean,
a lot of boxes, really. And I think watching it now, I think it did. I think it was quite successful, and it
they.
was successful because people came back next week and watched it.
I mean, the podcast I watched, like they're like big modern Who fans because that's when they started off. Like they were like David Tennant era type. Like that's when they were watching Doctor Who. Well, they still
Yeah,
do, but like obviously that was when they were growing up with it really the most. And I know, like for a fact that they still quote like lines in that series and Rose. Like they, you know how Mickey just starts calling Rose different like nicknames, and he just can't pick one, and he just keeps
Yeah,
going until eventually he just goes crazy about trying to find the Doctor.
yeah.
They quote that, so
Oh,
it
okay,
it
okay.
gave an
Interesting.
impact. It gave an
Oh,
impact.
it did. I mean, it certainly did. You know, lots of people tuned in to watch it because I think, you know, it was a big deal. I'm just trying to see what the audience figures were for this. Just bear with me. I'm just scrolling through my iPad here. It must be on there somewhere. Broadcast. So here we go. So 9.9 million viewers
That's
tuned into
quite
it,
a
and
lot.
this is before iPlayer, so there was no catch up with this either.
Unless you bought the DVDs like a
Yeah,
couple months
that was it
later.
really. Yeah, so yeah, that was it. That was your viewing figures. You know, incredible really. I mean, I had to back then I had a DVD recorder, so if I was out when Doctor Who was on the telly, I had to record it to a DVD and watch it when I got back home from usually from the pub. Actually, I was going to say, but no, I stayed in to watch this back in the day. And we weren't even podcasting. It was another 6 years before we started podcasting for this show. But yeah, I really like it. I mean, okay, the name Noel Clark is a dirty phrase these days. But what did you think of him? Because he was just as you said, Scott, he was an idiot, wasn't he? And even when it gets to World War Three, the Doctor calls him Ricky the idiot, doesn't he? Because he just cannot get his name right at all.
I feel like he has, even though he's an idiot, I feel like he probably would have a natural reaction if anybody actually in real life saw some great big alien orange creature that spews lava looking stuff everywhere. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think anybody would start swinging on ropes, kicking Autons out the way to save the day.
I was going to
Realistically,
say, I think
so
that's another weakness of this story because it's strong, fairly strong. I feel up until the point where completely out of nowhere, because it's never mentioned at all throughout the rest of the episode that Rose Tyler was good at gymnastics at school, and it just comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden she's swinging on chains and kicking Autons into the nesting consciousness, and yeah, it's that's
yeah, but
still
how
that
are you going to
still
say
feels
that?
fairly
How
weak.
are you going to say to somebody, "Oh, hi, my name's Rose Tyler. I got gymnastics
You
bronze when
weave it
I was
into the
age
story
7."
somehow. You weave it in. There's ways to do this, and
But
all of a sudden,
how would you weave it in?
I just by sort of like her and the doctor just talking, or even mentioning in passing to her mum. You know, it's sort of, you know, Rose does something and sort of mum says, "Oh, you used to be good at gymnastics. How can you be, you know, how can you be so bad at this?" Anything really, just to mention it. But this was sort of like, as they call it, a Deus Ex Machina ending. It just came out completely out of nowhere, and it still doesn't fit that bit at all.
I don't really mind, to be honest. And I think it's quite fun
Oh, it is a
whacking.
fun
I mean,
episode.
like
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's really just to show that Rose is a good character and Mickey's an idiot. Like
Well, it
she was
shows
able
that,
to think
yeah, I think it's
fast.
there to show
So
she's resourceful, and that's why the Doctor wants to take her on board the TARDIS, as he does at the end. But yeah, that's one of my very sort of minor niggles about this actually, because rewatching this a couple of days ago, I really enjoyed it. Actually, I thought it was a really good episode. I think looking back on it, it was a really good story to introduce the Doctor. It wasn't anything overly complicated, which you don't need at this point. You
mm.
just want to you want to bring back old fans, you want to bring in new fans, and
And she deserves compensation.
oh
So
yes, yeah, Jackie going, and also at the end, it was an absolute. Which I'm not sure if Doctor would do that quite so much now. Actually, it just goes to show how much has changed over the years. But there's sort of the absolute slaughter of people on the
I mean, there
street.
was a massacre of
It
just
was, yeah,
like every like
and poor old Clive just gets shot at point
yeah.
blank range as well. I feel sorry for him
I mean,
actually.
you can see all of like Jackie's like gets up, and you just get this. You pan out from Jackie, and you just
Yeah,
see the shot. I don't know how like over 30 people just lying on the
on the
ground
ground.
dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them are
It's
Autons, but like
yeah.
mostly it's people, and there's
Well,
fires and car
I'm going to
crashes
say
and
one thing that sort of warmed the cockles of this old Doctor Who fan's heart when I first watched it is this is really anal. It really is. But the sound effect for the Auton guns was that's the original sound from
Oh dear.
1970. Yeah, from Spirit from Space. So yeah, so I was that it still makes me smile when I hear that sound. I just like the old fashioned sound effects.
I just
There's
think.
nothing wrong with it.
So this is the last story that Autons have really appeared in. They appeared in the series 5 finale, but they weren't really a threat as per se. Like that wasn't the threat. And
No,
they also
no.
there was Daleks, Cybermen, Sontarans, Jadoon, loads of other stuff. But
Yeah, and
Autons were
others mentioned
there.
by name as well, wasn't
But
there? So yeah.
they're not shop window dummies. So it
No,
doesn't really it's
no.
not really the same.
But obviously they've refined their. Well, they do copies, we know, because they copied Mickey. But yeah, it was fun. I think it did a damn good job of introducing Christopher Eccleston. It still makes me sad. A lot of people now sort of criticise his performance, saying he was gurning a lot of the camera, and maybe he
Do they?
was. But yeah, they do. Yeah. But
When?
what do you mean when?
Everywhere I've seen, everyone's saying there's been a resurgence in Christopher
There
Eccleston love.
has, yeah, but there's still the odd person that, oh, I don't like his gurning. He doesn't do the comedy well, and I
Yeah,
think
but they're really just David Tennant lovers.
oh, exactly, that's it, because
So
it's not David Tennant. But really, if it wasn't for Chris Eccleston, there probably wouldn't have been a David Tennant. So
exactly.
we've got Chris Eccleston to thank for this, and it's such a shame that he fell out with the whole production. But
Mm.
testament to him, though, he stuck it out to the end. He fulfilled his contract, and then he
I
walked
mean, I
away.
think
And it's a shame he didn't stick around for another series. I
I
think
don't. I
could only have
mean,
got better. I think.
we don't really know what happened. If he fell out with the fact that the scheduling was all behind and it was just messy, and they wouldn't get stuff filmed on time. Nobody was ready, and I don't really know what Rusty Davis's role was into play, but they're not like on good terms anymore.
Well, no,
So
I think it was the fact that from what I can stuff I've sort of seen online, I think Eccleston didn't like the way the production team were treating the crew. And admittedly, everybody was making this up as they went along. So nothing had been done like this at the BBC for donkey's years. So I think they were sort of a little bit inexperienced as well. But I think he objected the way they were treated. I don't think he liked the way it was being made either. I think there's some issues with that. I don't think he liked John Barrowman clowning about on set either when he joined the cast.
well, we all know why now, but
Exactly, yeah. So I don't think he thought that was good for what I can gather. So yeah, I mean, he just I think the guy's just a professional. I think he's got quite sort of high morals that he upholds.
and to its
So
wonder,
fair play to him.
I wonder why Billie Piper stayed on. Maybe she just
Uh, don't know. Maybe she didn't mind
no.
it. Maybe she didn't mind it at all.
No.
But some
Well,
people
well,
do.
well, well, it was really her like first big acting job that
Hmm,
she's had in a while.
yeah.
But also, it goes into the point. Did you think that casting them was stunt casting? There's been this
Do you
thing
know
going
what?
around too.
Yes, at the time, because when I read all the press releases saying it's going to be co-starring Billie Piper as the Doctor's companion, I thought, oh, Billie Piper, she's a pop star. And I thought, here we go again. It's like John Nathan Turner all over again with the stunt casting.
Mm.
And also the same with John Barrowman, because I just knew him from doing kids TV. He used to do a thing on Going Live or Live and Kicking, wherever it was. He used to do like a little showbiz section each way. I think it was called Electric Circus or something.
I mean, I
I think
think
it was called.
now we look back at it. Christopher Eccleston was a big actor then. He still is now, but he was very big then. Billie Piper was a very big pop star
Yeah.
coming into an actor because
And
she did
John
try.
Barrowman,
It was
I didn't know anything about him other than what he did on kids TV, Saturday morning
so
TV. That's it.
you know quite a few things. Yeah, and they still stunt cast now. You know, Bradley Walsh, John Bishop. You know, even to go as far as saying Verada Sethu because she was from Disney and she was kind of like a last minute
Yeah, but
stunt
she's an
cast.
actor though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
These other people. I mean, Bradley Walsh has done acting
Well,
before.
Christopher Eccleston is an actor as well.
Yeah. But what I'm saying
So
is that was probably at the time I looked at it, that was the only serious bit of casting I could see at the time.
mm.
Sort of like, yeah, because Chris Eccleston, as you said, he's well regarded, and I thought, wow, they've got a really good actor in the role here. And then when it followed it up with Billie Piper and John Barrowman, I thought, oh God, no,
When
But
was John Barrowman announced? Was he announced
at the same time,
as an actual companion? Because
more or less.
he didn't appear till like episode 8.
No, they
Oh
said,
no, 9.
and they said they will be joined. I'm paraphrasing the article here, but it did say, and John, I'm in the TARDIS will be John Barrowman as it's just called Captain Jack, and they sort of and as an intergalactic con man, and it's set the way they described it sounded awful
Sounds like
actually.
Savalon Glitz.
Yeah,
That's
so
what it sounds like.
it didn't fill me with confidence at the time. But however, after this point, I know John Barron didn't feature at this point, so we only concentrate on Billy Piper because it's relevant to this episode. But yeah, she blew everybody away. Actually, she was
I
excellent.
do find there's like a couple of line deliveries from her where, because obviously she's putting on an accent, like she's posh,
Yes,
just to say.
yeah.
So she talked a little bit more like this, but she hadn't put an accent like this. Not like that. I can't do her accent.
Just talk like us, Scott. South East London.
There are some lines that she says which like bleed in the poshness a bit. But you can hear.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna.
Yeah,
happen.
like
If
you
it's
can
not
like
your natural accent, it's gonna happen.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know why she was forced to.
You're being a bit picky there, Scott.
Leave
that stuff. Leave that kind of rubbish to me.
You're being a
You're
bit
the
picky.
positive one.
You're being a bit picky with your endings and.
Well, no, it's just the fact it made no sense. It just came out of nowhere. That's what I mean for the ending. But that's not just restricted to this story. It happened quite a bit with Russell T Davies's stories. The stuff just gets plucked out of nowhere to resolve an episode. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think it did a damn good job. Shall we score it then?
Yeah, I want you to go first though, because of the whole ending thing.
Okay, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Actually,
I want to give it. I'm just going to give it a 10 out of 10 because
yeah, go for it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's the best
Your score.
introduction. It's the best introduction story that we've had in Doctor Who, like
Mhm.
one of the best ever. I mean, I know
Yeah.
the pilot. I probably prefer the pilot because of the 12th Doctor. However, in terms of actual story, Rose is a better story. So, you know,
Yeah, okay.
10 out of
okay.
10.
Yeah, no, I'm only giving it a 9 out of 10 just because of there's a couple little things that still sort of grate on me, particularly the ending really, or the resolution to the Doctor being held by the Autons. That's
I also think this sets up quite good stuff because even to go as far as Jackie is also not a very good person.
Oh, we haven't actually mentioned Camille Kaduri.
She keeps trying to get money out of people when she deserves compensation, which is the best line ever.
I still found in this episode, I found her character quite grating, but it gets better as it goes on.
I mean, she becomes more, I don't know, grown up almost, which she should be because she's less grown up than her own daughter.
Yeah.
I feel like after Rose disappears for a year somehow, I don't know why. No, it gets me about Aliens of London is why don't they just get back in the TARDIS and just go back? Pretend it never happened.
That's the whole thing. They can't cross their own time streams
because it became 2006 when they arrived back there.
I know.
Which means
anyway,
all
Scott,
the Doctor
that's got nothing to do with this. It's got nothing to do with Rose.
All the Doctor Who timelines are a year ahead. But
I know.
I think what happens later on, what they set up in the story works really well because again, I did Aliens of London. They softened.
Let's save that,
wait, hold
Scott,
on. This
when
is
we get to
important.
Aliens of London.
This is important. They softened because Mickey went through a lot. It kind of, while being blamed for his death, he also had to grow up a bit.
Yeah.
So this sets them both up as foolish people trying to con money out of each other. Not con money out of each other, but Jackie's trying to con money out of people.
Out the system.
There's compensation, and Mickey's just a fool walking around thinking he owns the place when he doesn't. He got attacked by Bin. So
yeah, exactly. Which burped at him. So
yeah, it was hungry.
It was hungry, obviously. So, but yeah, so that's it. So 9 out of 10 from me and 10 out of 10 from Scott. Good. So obviously when we return to our Welcome the Doctor series, we'll reach the 10th Doctor, and it will be the Christmas Invasion, which we'll probably be talking about in September.
Woo, huzzah!
Yeah, huzzah. So, but what are we doing next, Scott? So, a few things to round off the episode. So, next week we won't be releasing a podcast because we're going to be away. I'm not coming back basically till next Sunday, so we're not going to have time to sit down and watch or sort of listen to anything. So we're gonna have a break next week, and we'll kind of come back the week after. So I think should we do that Jodie Whittaker Big Finish where we abandoned?
Yes, it's the first one, the Return of the Doctor.
Yes, so we're going to do that. We're going to do Return of the Doctor on our next podcast in 2 weeks' time. Also, if you do decide to watch this on YouTube, this will be out on Monday. If you listen to us on audio now on our usual Sunday, the video now will be out on Monday, not on Wednesday, because we're going to be away. So it'll be an early release for that for whoever watches it. Which, as was apparent from our last video, Scott, it was 10 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are not getting much traction on YouTube, but we're gonna continue because we quite enjoy just putting out there and making the videos. So
Yes. Doctor Who isn't dead. You know,
it's not
the
dead,
news
but
is here.
yeah.
It might be dying and it might be cancelled for now. It's on a hiatus, but you know, look at all. And it's not going to show, but
No, you can't see that, Scott. It's
you're
just
not,
that it
you
just
kind
blanks
of
your
got it.
face there. If you watch this on YouTube, you
Hey,
can't see it, Scott. No, you can't see it.
Hey.
Anyway, this makes no sense for anyone on audio. We're going to
All
clear
this
this up now. Okay, everybody. So until next time, it's goodbye from me, Phil.
And goodbye, Scott.
Goodbye.